Have you ever watched a duck glide across a pond during a heavy rainstorm and wondered why it never seems soaked? The water simply beads up, rolls off its feathers, and disappears as if the duck were wearing an invisible raincoat. Even after diving underwater in search of food, a duck can climb back onto land, give itself a quick shake, and look almost completely dry. It almost seems like magic, but it's actually the result of millions of years of evolution and some incredibly clever natural engineering. So why don't ducks get wet? The answer involves specialized feathers, natural oils, and a surprisingly important grooming habit. Let's take a closer look, right here, on History of Simple Things. Ducks belong to a group of birds known as waterfowl, and they've been living around lakes, rivers, marshes, and coastlines for tens of millions of years. Spending so much time in and around water meant that surviving required more than simply knowing how to swim. They also needed a way to stay warm. Water is excellent at drawing heat away from the body. If a duck's feathers became completely waterlogged, they'd lose much of their insulating ability, making it difficult for the bird to regulate its temperature, especially during cold weather. Over countless generations, natural selection favored ducks with feathers that resisted water. The result is one of nature's most effective waterproof systems, allowing ducks to float, dive, and even sleep on water without becoming soaked. At first glance, duck feathers may look ordinary, but under a microscope they're anything but. Each feather is made of a central shaft with hundreds of tiny branches called barbs. Attached to those barbs are even smaller structures called barbules, each equipped with microscopic hooks. These hooks latch onto neighboring barbules, creating a tightly woven surface that's both flexible and remarkably resistant to water. This intricate arrangement leaves very little room for water to penetrate. Instead of soaking into the feather, water forms droplets that sit on the surface. Scientists call this water repellency, and it's similar to how water beads up on a freshly waxed car. The droplets simply roll away, carrying dirt and dust with them in the process. Feathers alone aren't enough to keep ducks dry. They also rely on a built-in waterproofing product. Near the base of a duck's tail sits a small organ called the uropygial gland, often nicknamed the preen gland. This gland produces a mixture of waxes, fatty acids, and oils. Several times a day, ducks bend their necks backward and gently rub their bills against this gland. They then spread the oily coating over their feathers while carefully grooming every part of their body. This behavior is known as preening, and it's far more important than simply keeping clean. The oil adds another protective layer that helps water slide off the feathers instead of soaking in. Different species produce slightly different oil mixtures, but the goal remains the same. Keep the feathers water-resistant and in good condition. Without regular preening, even a healthy duck would gradually lose much of its waterproof protection. Here's something even more surprising. Although the outer feathers get splashed constantly, the duck's skin underneath often stays almost completely dry. That's because ducks have multiple layers of feathers. The stiff outer feathers repel water, while beneath them lies a thick layer of soft down feathers. These fluffy feathers trap pockets of air close to the body. That trapped air acts like insulation, much like the insulation inside a winter jacket. It helps keep body heat from escaping into the cold water. The air layer also contributes to buoyancy, making it easier for ducks to float with very little effort. So while you see a duck peacefully drifting across a pond, it's actually sitting on a cushion of trapped air hidden beneath its waterproof coat. Despite their amazing waterproofing, ducks aren't completely immune to getting wet. If a duck becomes covered in substances like oil from pollution or certain chemical contaminants, its feathers can no longer repel water properly. The oil sticks the feathers together, destroying the tiny air pockets that normally provide insulation. Without that protective structure, cold water can reach the skin, causing the duck to lose body heat much more rapidly. This is one of the reasons oil spills can be devastating for waterfowl. Birds affected by oil often struggle to float, keep warm, or even survive unless they're rescued and cleaned. Young ducklings also aren't born with perfect waterproofing. During their first weeks of life, they rely heavily on staying close to their mother, whose feathers are already fully waterproof. As the ducklings mature, they develop their own feathers and begin producing oil from their preen glands. Even healthy adult ducks can become less waterproof if they're sick, injured, or unable to preen regularly. Since preening is essential maintenance, anything that prevents it can reduce the effectiveness of their natural raincoat. Ducks may look ordinary, but their ability to stay dry is the result of an incredible combination of biology and behavior. From the microscopic structure of their feathers to the waterproof oils produced by the preen gland, every part of their body works together to keep water on the outside where it belongs. Add in the insulating layer of trapped air beneath their feathers, and it's easy to see why ducks can spend hours swimming, diving, and even sleeping on the water without becoming soaked. The next time you spot a duck effortlessly gliding across a pond, you'll know there's much more happening than meets the eye. What looks like a simple bird enjoying the water is actually a masterpiece of natural engineering, refined over millions of years of evolution. It's another reminder that some of nature's most fascinating inventions are hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to take a closer look. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.